The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WinBet. Bet $100 at WinBet and get a $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WinBet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. Welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford. I am coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast corner of England. Today is Friday, August the 12th, and we are here with a little turbo episode of the show to give some locks, dogs, totals, and any other eye catches that we've got for Saturday, August the 13th. And it is an OG special, the rarest of things. I haven't spoken to him for ages. Very much missed him, Mr. Munaf Manji. Munaf, hello, mate.
Hey, Malcolm, how's it going, my man? Yeah, it's been quite the week. It flew by this week. I know I was on all the pods this week in some form or fashion with Noah and Dylan, but glad to have you back. I know you took a little family trip. Hope you had fun, but yeah, baseball is just chugging along, my man.
Yeah, it's been fun. I've had a little vacation, didn't go far, just a couple of hours down the coast. And I was saying just off air, it's tricky when the two kids want to do different things. I've got a friend who says no man has ever enjoyed a family holiday, which is a little bit harsh. But yeah, it was all right. It was cheap and cheerful. We stayed in a shipping container, Munaf. We'd stayed in one of them that had been converted into some sort of weird little concoction out in the midst. It was very peaceful. Did some stargazing. Tried to keep up with some baseball. It's been a relatively quiet week in baseball. It's kind of just plodded along a little bit. The Field of Dreams game last night was a little bit uninspiring. I think it was either you or Noah tweeted out early in the day that you pick a couple of poor teams and you're going to get a poor game. And actually, there was a lot of base runners and some runs early on. And then it just kind of fizzled out a little bit. It was a bit of a non-event, Munaf.
Yeah, it really was. And I was the one that tweeted that. I was like, you could have a couple of more, I guess, competitive teams or exciting teams, I guess we can say. I mean, imagine if we had the Yankees or the Mets that played in this game, or above average teams, which I made it a lot more fun. And this is the type of game where you want to see a lot of runs being scored and home runs being hit, but it looked like it was gonna head that way when the Cubs put up 3 in that first inning. But after that, it was kind of lackluster. They only had 3 more runs the rest of the way. But I know it won't be there next year, just because I think they said they're doing some construction. So hopefully the following year they make some improvements for it and get some more exciting teams out there. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I think they announced this week when I was away that the London series is back next year, which is going to be the Cubs and the Cards. That series had been announced and was called off during the pandemic. So they've obviously just reproduced that one for London next year. So hopefully get some tickets for that and might be able to do some stuff live from London when we get the Cubs and the Cards, which is a proper rivalry. And hopefully the Cubs will be a little bit better by then as well. So Friday night episode, we know people don't often have time to consume a 55, 60-minute episode of the MLB Gambling Podcast on a weekend. People are busy, as are we. So we do a little 30-minute or so episode here. So what we've got here, we're going to cover there's 2 really nice pitching matchups. There's a couple of big games. There's some games that caught my eye that I'd like to talk about, and we've got some locks and dogs as well. So we'll get straight into it. And with the biggest pitching matchup of the evening tomorrow is a 7:10 Eastern first pitch, and it's the Phillies at the Mets. It's Aaron Nola against Jacob deGrom. I think I've seen I've got some lines for that. The Phillies are plus 163, the Mets are minus 192. The total is at 6.5 for good reason with these 2 pitchers on the mound. I'll give you the pitching numbers and we can see what your opinion of this is, Munaf. Nola is 8-8, has a 3.17 ERA. He's pitched 144 and 2/3 with 157 strikeouts. Jacob deGrom is 1-0, has a 2.53 ERA, 10 2/3 pitched with 18 punches. Aaron Nola going along okay, 3.24 ERA in his last 5. He's got an excellent road ERA of 2.24. Has pitched 16 and a third against the Mets so far this season. He's given up 7 earned runs on 13 hits in that spell. So they have hit him. What I wasn't convinced by Munaf here with Nola. Was in his last 5 starts, he's pitched really well against Washington, Pittsburgh, and Miami. And I think I could pitch pretty well against Washington, Pittsburgh, and Miami. He's given up 2 earned runs in those 3 starts. His other 2 starts against Atlanta and St. Louis, he's given up 10 earned runs against the Portland lineup. So for me, that was a big red flag. Jacob deGrom only had 2 starts, obviously been lights out in both of those. So yeah, I'd be fading Nola against good opposition. So I've got the metric down here. I wrote down money line, run line, team total, first 5. Any which way you want to take the New York Mets, I think tomorrow. Plus the Philly defense sucks as well. They were booting the ball and chucking it around all over the place last night. So yeah, I was interested in getting the Mets on my side any which way I could, Muna.
Yeah, I think a couple of things that kind of do stick out to me, at least from the Phillies part, is that they were playing really well up until they had to face 2 great, or not great pitcher, well, 1 great pitcher in Sandy Alcantara when they just faced the Marlins in their past series, and then also Edward Cabrera, who looked really good for this team as well. The one thing for me is that when the Phillies are facing stellar competition or above average pitching that they're going to face this weekend, in between Scherzer on Friday night and then Jacob deGrom on Saturday, the offense just doesn't really show up for them. And I think this is going to be the case where the offense is not going to show up. And I also believe that Kyle Schwarber is injured for the Philadelphia Phillies at the top of that lineup. So that's another bat that they're not going to have going up against this type of caliber pitching. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I do like the Mets here when you're having to face Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom back to back. That's going to be a very, very tough situation for your team. So I like the Mets here as well. You take a look at Jacob deGrom's last or over his career, and this goes all the way back to 2014. He's 8-1 with a 2.29 ERA against the Philadelphia Phillies. And his last start, which was, I believe, was it the Braves that he faced, another division opponent? He looked like the Jacob deGrom. He had 12 strikeouts in that game. The one thing that, Malcolm, we've always talked about with Jacob deGrom, is he going to get the run support? Because this has kind of been the story about Jacob deGrom's career with the Mets not getting that run support. So, but yeah, I'm right there with you. I do like the Mets here, especially the way that their bats have really been, hitting over the past couple weeks here.
Yeah, we used to get his own run support. That used to be his thing, didn't it? But,
right. Yeah.
He's not allowed to do that anymore with the DH. The lines that we're giving you tonight, the place to find all of those is at WinBet. And WinBet is the perfect place for new customers to get across to. If you bet £100 there, you'll get $100 free bet. Also, reduced juice still on baseball games, making WinBet the best place to bet MLB. And the casino is always open 24 hours a day. You'll get 100% deposit up to $1,000. Loads to choose from. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. Offer subject to change. T's and C's at winbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you're someone new knows a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Another game that caught my eye tomorrow, and there's no lines on this, unfortunately. I was hoping to give you a line because I thought Cleveland might be an underdog. They are visiting Toronto. Toronto have a really good home record, and Tristan McKenzie's going for Cleveland, and Mitch White is going for the Toronto Blue Jays. So this caught my eye a little bit, Moon. I think McKenzie's someone we followed closely. He caught my eye a couple of months back now when he pitched a beauty against the Yankees. 2.35 in his last 5 starts, 3.40 road ERA. In his last start, he went 8 scoreless against Houston. And couple that with the fact that I'm really not in on Mitch White. He's had 1 start for the Blue Jays, came across from the Dodgers in the trade deadline. He gave up by 300 runs in 4 and 2/3 against Minnesota. He was okay before that for Dodgers, but I fancy a little bit of regression here for Mitch White. I'm not sure. Do you think Cleveland will be an underdog here, Munaf, in this one? It might be a pick 'em. It's going to be close. And what did you think of this matchup?
Yeah, I think they'll be an underdog just because they are traveling up to Toronto. I think the one thing that really kind of sticks out to me in this series is that when George Springer is injured for this team, for the Blue Jays, this team is a completely different offense, meaning not in a good way, right? And I think there's some number. The record, I think that they're close to a 500 team without George Springer in the lineup, but they're a lot better, obviously, when you have a guy like George Springer at the top of your lineup. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. Tristan McKenzie has been going along very well for this team. The numbers are good for him. The ERA is a good number at 3.16, but the wins haven't been there. I mean, he is 8-8 on the season, but if he got a little bit of more run support, I think this team would have definitely a better record. So I think this is a great bright spot for the Cleveland Guardians. Mitch White, I mean, like you mentioned it, he comes over from the Dodgers, and I think there is some progression that is going to be due. The Guardians offense is not that bad. Coming into this year, when we did the division previews, I thought the offense was going to be okay. It was just that pitching I thought would be a big question mark, but I've been proven wrong this season with the Guardians pitching. But his first start with the Blue Jays, he faced Minnesota in Minnesota. He gave up 3 earned runs in 4 and 2/3 innings pitched. So I think there is going to be some regression here for the Toronto Blue Jays and Mitch White. So I do like this call here with Tristan McKenzie on the mound for the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah, Cleveland are the hottest team as well. They've got a winning streak of 5 at the moment. So yeah, hopefully they can ride that one out. Munaf, any games particularly caught your eye away from your lock and dog totals? What did you like?
Yeah, I have one that's in my lock, but I'll leave that series, and I think we'll talk a lot about that one here a little bit. But I think there's a lot of series this weekend, Malcolm, that do have playoff implications. I mean, we already talked about 2 here. Cleveland, Toronto, those teams are battling. Cleveland's batting for the division. Toronto's, trying to stay in that wild card race. Baltimore, Tampa, that's another one. Wild card race there. We just talked about the Phillies and the Mets. That's another one. But other than that, I think that, I mean, we have some good series this week, and there's some pretty good pitching matchups, but I think those are the ones that we just discussed, and then I'll discuss one more when we get into the lock segment. But yeah, I mean, I didn't have anything else outside of the ones that you already mentioned there, Malcolm.
Excellent. Relatively new sponsor here on the MLB Gambling Podcast. It's Odds Trader. What a magnificent tool this is as well. By the way, if you haven't got across to Odds Trader, I suggest you do it. Toot sweet. Odds Trader does also everything you want as a bettor. Odds Trader will do it for you. You can compare odds from all the major sports. You can compare different sign-up codes, so you can get the correct promos and bonus, whatever you're looking for. Every dollar is worth a few more once you've got those correct codes and promotions. It'll give you player stats, key game stats, projected game weather, all that sort of thing. And it'll also keep a track of all your bets for you, which is an incredible tool, something I could have done with over the last 40 odd years. So yeah, go to oddstrader.com/bluewire. OddsTrader is the #1 site for all of your game day bets. Right, okay, Munaf, we'll spend a couple of minutes and we'll talk through any underdogs. You messaged me a couple of hours ago and said you were struggling to find an underdog, and I tongue-in-cheek suggested you could borrow one of mine because I had underdogs coming out my ears. We've talked about Cleveland already, who I think will be a dog. There was 2. I had 2 others that were of interest to me, just for a couple of just little reasons before we get onto my main dog. The first one was Baltimore at Tampa Bay Rays. 2 reasons here. A, that Baltimore is still going along really, really well. They're the only team in that AL East with a winning record over the last 10 games, 7-3, where the Yankees are really stuttering. Toronto and Tampa are just shambling along. Oh, that's a great save. Oh, I've got my usual. Oh, he's missed. I've got my usual Friday night sweat on, Munaf. I'm sweating some championship football here. It's Watford 1, Burnley 0. Watford have had a man sent off, and it is attack v defence here That's why I've been jumping around in the last few minutes. I know the DJs will appreciate me sweating a bet out live as we record. But Baltimore have got a record of, let me just change my standings here.
Ooh.
Again, yeah, that's the one. If you just made this.
I'm 30 seconds behind you.
Sorry, I know. I said earlier on that I wouldn't spoil anything for you, and then I just shouted that. Yeah, that noise you heard Moonaf make was him getting the piece of action that I just got 30 seconds
They
earlier.
called it offside anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't as much fun for the listeners if I said that, though, Moonaf. You spoiled it. They've got a 24-16 record against left-handed pitching. Baltimore, which is outstanding record, and they go against McClanahan tomorrow. So with Tampa Bay not being particularly on fire, Baltimore going okay, and that left-handed pitching record, Baltimore will be a favourite tomorrow against the pitcher hasn't been decided, but Baltimore will be an underdog. Because McClanahan will have Tampa Bay short price. The other one that I liked was I was interested in. Was Pittsburgh against away at the Giants. And that's because of Roansy Contreras who early in the season was on everybody's lips. He was a real talking horse. Fell off the map a little bit. He hasn't pitched since the 7th of July. But yeah, he's thrown in plenty good starts, plenty decent starts. And again, San Francisco aren't a team to be particularly afraid of. So yeah, I like Baltimore. I was also interested in Pittsburgh. That's not the one I picked, but we'll let you take us through your dog of the day, Moonaf.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I know we were talking earlier, and I was like struggling to really find a dog because there's a lot of pitchers that I go into tomorrow that I just don't trust. And there's some lines that are not out yet. So again, check the graphic tomorrow if my mind does change here. So I kind of went off the grid here. I kind of came out of left field here. I'm throwing a little curveball here with my dog. And I messaged you. I was like, hey, can I put in a player prop or a home run prop for the dog segment? And you're like, hey, you're the machine. You can do whatever you want. I'll give you that privilege. So that's what I'm going to go with here. I'm targeting San Diego Padres, one of their sluggers here, Manny Machado, up against Anibal Sanchez tomorrow. And I'm going to take his home run prop tomorrow. That number's not out yet. Definitely check it tomorrow, but obviously that will be at a significant dog price, probably around 3-1. But I was kind of digging into the matchup in this game, and obviously I do want to fade Anibal Sanchez. And I went and looked at some batter and pitcher splits. And the one thing that really stuck out to me is that Manny Machado against Anibal Sanchez is 8 of 17 with an average of 471. He's slugging 1235 against Anibal Sanchez. So 4 of his 8 hits, Malcolm, against Sanchez have been the long bomb. He's gone for over the fence, he's hit home runs half of his hits. So I went back and looked at what Sanchez has kind of done over the 5 starts that he's had so far this season. Obviously, we know he's 0-5 with a 7.56 ERA, a 1.56 WHIP. But I was more interested in looking at, how many home runs he's given up. So he's given up at least 1 home run in every single one of his starts so far. He's given up at least 2 home runs in 3 out of the 5 games that he started so far. And those 2 games where he's given up at least 2 home runs have been at home in Nationals Park. So now you have a San Diego Padres team that hopefully their offense kind of woke up here a little bit. I know they were on that streak of not scoring very many runs. They were shut out. I think it was like 23 or 26 innings without scoring a run. But I think this is a spot where Manny Machado and Juan Soto and his offense can really come in and maybe get one off of Anibal Sanchez here. So I'm going to go Manny Machado to hit a home run in this game on Saturday against the Washington Nationals pitching. Hopefully he gets that done early. But again, I really do like this player prop here for Manny Machado.
Yeah, this game was just about impossible to handicap because it was one of the most one-sided looking games. I tried handicapping it earlier on, just as a normal game to give a pick out when I was looking for angles. And again, I know earlier on I mentioned Mets moneyline, run line, team total. This San Diego, you were looking at as a starting point, San Diego at -2.5. So there was no real angle in. Obviously, San Diego team total is going to be high. So I think the way to tackle it is exactly what you've done, Moon. Having maybe split the unit up and take a couple of home run props, because there should be runs here, especially against Anibal Sanchez. I mean, he's just eating innings, really. He's only pitched 25 innings, but he's just filling in a rotation spot just to help the Nationals get closer to the end of the season. He's just a warm body at this point. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's the only angle you really wanted to take if you wanted to bet this game. Burnley have held on for a 1-0 win, Moon up. Burnley hit the Watford have held on. Sorry, Burnley hit the bar with about a minute left. But anyway, so I've now got some spare money, Moon, after that I can stick on Manny Machado tomorrow. So Friday night DGen winnings live on the MLB Gambling Podcast. So yeah, my underdog, I went to Detroit at the Chicago White Sox tomorrow, where Matt Manning is the man I'm going to back here for Detroit against Lucas Giolito and the White Sox. Matt Manning, since being back from the IL, it's his third start back from the IL. He's pitched 20 innings with 12 strikeouts, 2.25 ERA. Giolito is 8-6, 4.91 ERA. Has pitched 106 in the third with 120 strikeouts. So yeah, like I say, Matt Manning's a name again that was quite highly thought of. The Tigers had this big group of young pitchers, and Manning was another one that got injured, but a third start back now. I do like him. He's pitched 7 scoreless against Tampa last time out, so he's been fine. Giolito's just been underwhelming. He's okay, absolutely okay. Relatively short starts you get out of him. He's not been going beyond 5 innings. He's got a 4.22 ERA against Detroit. And I just think in the minute, Moon, for everything about both Giolito and the White Sox, it's just beatable. You can never back them with any confidence at all. They're just doing the fundamentals so wrong. Obviously, I'm not backing the strength. I'm picking Detroit here on the strength of how they've been playing, because they haven't been playing very well. But equally, I see a price here of plus 185 on Detroit. The White Sox are a very, very short price favourite. And there's no way I'd be taking the White Sox at anywhere. Minus 217 Chicago. Absolutely no chance at the minute. There's something wrong. The fundamentals are wrong. The clubhouse is a little bit broken. I think people are sick and tired of Tony La Russa. Yeah. And with Matt Manning on the mount here, Detroit have got a live chance of springing the upset at plus 185, Muna.
Yeah, this was one of the ones I was considering when I was looking at dogs. But you're right. I mean, right now, can you really put money behind the Chicago White Sox team, because they just burned so many people over this past week? And, they don't have Tim Anderson, who's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. And it's just a mess right now for the Chicago White Sox. And, we've talked about a couple managers that have been fired this season that has really been a rallying point for some of these teams, right? I think that the biggest example right now is the Philadelphia Phillies, where they let Joe Girardi go, and ever since then, I think they're playing, above. I think their winning percentage is above 600, and I think that's exactly what the Chicago White Sox need to do. I think that Tony La Russa is not the man for this job, but getting back to your point about the Detroit Tigers here, I do like this pick because, again, Lucas Giolito is a guy that right now should not in any way, shape, or form be a north of a $2 favorite. If you just kind of look at the numbers, I mean, you said it right there. He's just been absolutely atrocious. I know he's 3-1 over his last 5 games with a 4.44 ERA, but at home so far, 3-4 with a 5.98 ERA in an earlier start this year against the same Tigers team. He gave up 5 earned runs to this Tigers team. He took a loss in that game. This was back on July 8th, where the Tigers won that game 7-5. So, I think this is a good price for the Detroit Tigers. Hopefully their bats do get going in this game a little bit. They did make a comeback in yesterday's game against the Guardians, but only fell short in the 10th inning. But, I think from a pure value standpoint and the way that Lucas Giolito has been going, over the past month or so for the Chicago White Sox, I think that the only direction I would personally look would be with the Detroit Tigers. I think you're spot on.
Okay, so we'll get to our lock picks in a moment after we've told you about one of your favourites, Moonaf. Run your pool. I know you do a lot of stuff over there. It's the home of competition. which brings sports fans and their social circles together to compete, connect, and make every game matter more. Run Your Pool offers every game type under the sun, from pick'ems to survivors to fantasy pools. It's a one-stop shop for sports gaming with customizable features that you don't get anywhere else. We have teamed up with Run Your Pool to host a pool for our official SGP and NFL Survivor contest. It's free to enter. Some amazing prizes will be announced. Hop in now to reserve your spot. Get in over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/survivor. That is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/survivor. And Sleeper, you need to know about Sleeper, where no doubt I had 2 Sleeper notifications just before we came on saying 2 of my leagues have been auto-renewed, which is great news. I'm excited about that. It's always fun when you get those notifications start coming around. The new over-under game on there, though, where you can make a few quid as well, is a great, fun game to play. Choose your sport, choose your players, and then pick the over or under for some props that you like. If you're correct, you can win anywhere from 2 to 20 times the stake that you put in. The NFL season is right around the corner. Sleeper is the first sports contest game built into the fantasy experience. The chat room's great. You can get in there with your friends, tail the picks, etc. So the place to be, you can join our group at sleeper.com/SGP. Sleeper will automatically match your first deposit up to $100. Go to sleeper.com/SGP. You'll get a $100 match on your first deposit. T's and C's apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Okay, moving off. So we've had some eye catchers. We've had some stellar pitching matchups. We've given a dog. It's time for a lock. What have you got?
You want to go lock or you want to go total?
I don't have a total. I've got a lock. I think it might be the same as yours. So yeah, hit us with your total first, and then we can see what we've got for the locks.
So for my total, I'm actually going to go with a team total, and it's not out yet. So I'll give you what my projection is probably going to be. But tomorrow in the Astros and the Oakland game, Lance McCullers actually makes his return for the Houston Astros starting pitcher. So nice to have him back for the Astros. But I'm actually going to fade the Oakland A's pitcher in this game, Jared Koenig. He's going to be on the mound for the A's tomorrow up against the Astros. So I'm either looking at the full game team total, which is probably going to be 5.5, or a first 5 innings team total for the Astros, whether it's 2.5 or 3.5. But let me get into the handicap here and get your thoughts on this as well, Malcolm. But this season, 4 of his 5 starts have actually come on the road for Jared Koenig, including a start in Houston, his last start, which was back on July 16th. And this is going to be his first start since they did send him down to AAA to kind of, fix his mechanics and just trying to figure out what's wrong with him. But even though he was sent down, in the 4 starts that he has made in the minor leagues, Koenig pitched 21 innings in the minor leagues. He's allowed 27 hits and 17 earned runs in those 4 starts in the minor leagues, posted an ERA of 7.17 and a whip of 1.59. And the Astros are number 1 over the last 2 weeks against left-handed pitching in WRC+. Astros are also number 3 in team batting average against left-handed pitching. They're also number 3 in on-base percentage, and they're number 1 in slugging and OPS. So I think they're going to get to Jared Koenig here early and often. I know he gave up, I believe it was 4 earned runs early to the Astros in his start back on July 16th. Let me see if I can pull up that number here real quick. In that game, let's see. He gave up 5 earned runs to the Astros in 7 innings pitched in his last start. So walks are a big problem for him as well. And like I mentioned, the Astros bats have just been hot against left-handed pitching. So that's going to be my total. I'm going to go with the Astros first 5. I'm going to take both. I'm going to take the first 5 team total, and I'm going to take a full game team total in this game as well for my total of the day for Saturday, Malcolm.
Yeah, you can't really argue with that. The A's v Houston most days of the week is a little bit of a mismatch. I suppose you've eliminated Lance McCullers, the start you're getting out of him. So that's it. It's a shrewd way to handicap the game because you're not sure what you're going to get out of McCullers. So you eliminate him, his input into the game, and just take the bats. I've got a nursing a couple of injuries, I think. Houston at the minute. I know Michael Brantley is out for the
season.
Yeah, he's gone for the season. But and some of the lineups have been a little bit underwhelming. But then Houston can afford to do that as well at the minute. They've got they've got a very healthy lead. Although Seattle are coming with a bit of a rattle, they've still got an 11-game cushion there. So yeah, I've got no issues with that one at all, Munaf. For my luck, I faded a team that I've faded a lot over the last probably month or so. I went to the game between the Brewers and the St. Louis Cardinals. Was that your lock as well, Munaf? Are you in a different game?
I am in the same game, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll give out yours, and you can. I'll let you rip me to shreds. The games are pick'em, -110, each of two, and I'll be backing the St. Louis Cardinals here. Corbin Burns is the pitcher for Milwaukee, and Adam Wainwright is going for St. Louis. Burns 8-5, 2.45 ERA. Wainwright is 8-8 with a 3.42 ERA. Again, Burns is going along okay. He has had some easier opposition to face. Not his fault particularly. He has his last two starts actually, which were against Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. He's got a really good road ERA as well. Adam Wainwright's numbers are inflated by two horror starts relatively recently against the Yankees and the Cincinnati Reds. But he has a 2.47 home ERA, and I much prefer how St. Louis are doing things on offense than how Milwaukee are doing things at the moment. We gave out St. Louis in the All-Star break. They were a couple of games behind. They've now taken the lead in that division. They were plus 150, I think, thereabouts. And Milwaukee just don't, for me, score enough runs or ever look like stringing enough hits together. They get the odd solo shot, and kind of that's about it. So I liked St. Louis here. I thought Wainwright at home, his numbers would just say a little bit skew with because of those two starts against the Yankees and Cincinnati. We're maybe just making things look a little bit lopsided. So it was the Cards for me, Munaf. What was your read of the situation?
I'm actually on the Brewers' first 5 innings money line.
Oh, okay.
So maybe there's a way we can both win here. And no, I agree. I understand and agree with a lot of the stuff that you did say there. But when I take a look at Corbin Burns, he's been really good against the Cardinals since 2021. And when I'm looking at how pitchers have done historically against team, I really like to take either a 2-year sample or a 3-year sample, because there are going to be times where pitchers face the same team 3 to 4 times in a year, especially in a division. And again, that has a lot to do with roster moves and lineups changing, especially in MLB. But since 2021, this dates back to last year, Burns is 3-1 against the Cardinals with a 1.00 ERA. This season, he's been lights out against the Cardinals. He has 2 starts. He went 14 innings. He pitched against the Cardinals. He only allowed 4 hits and but didn't give up any earned runs in those 14 innings pitched so far this season against the St. Louis Cardinals. He's also struck out. He's had double-digit strikeouts, what I'm trying to say, in both of the starts so far against the St. Louis Cardinals. Adam Wainwright, you talked about it. The numbers may be a little inflated here, but he's really struggled against the Brewers this season. He's had 2 starts this season where he's 0-2 with a 7.07 ERA. He's allowed 11 earned runs in 14 innings pitched against the Milwaukee Brewers. So that's a -11 run differential between Corbin Burns and Adam Wainwright. All 3 starts this season versus the Brewers, the Cardinals are 0-3 in the first 5 innings money line when Wainwright does get the start this season against the Brewers. So I'm going to shrink this down. I'm going to take the Brewers' first 5 innings money line here. I agree about what you said, that the offense, it's a huge question mark. We've talked about this last season as well for the Brewers, but I just have faith in Burns here, especially in the first 5 innings. Maybe they're able to sneak out a 1-0 or a 2-0 lead, and then maybe the bullpen comes in and messes it up, and we find a way to win this game here. Because this took a lot for me to pick this game, because I have a lot of exposure on the Cardinals win total, Malcolm, and also for them to win the division as well. So I'll shrink it down. I'll take the first 5 innings money line with the Brewers in this game. But this is a huge series, Malcolm, for both of these teams.
Yeah, it is.
Especially in that NL Central division, where I think the Cardinals are only up by half a game right now. So hopefully we find a way for us to be a winner in this game.
Yeah, you've kind of come down on the other side, but there is a way that we can both win. So we'll try and do that if humanly possible. Well, there you go, Munaf. Cheeky 35 minutes for the Saturday night card. Gave out a few leans as well as some nice picks as well. What does the rest of your weekend look like, Munaf? Is it sport filled?
Yeah, I mean, sports are back, right? I mean, I know you're probably you are the more bigger fan of EPL, but we do have soccer back, so it's always fun waking up to checking the scores or trying to get up early enough and watch the soccer games, whether it's Germany or whether it's EPL. But yeah, just more NFL prep. We'll obviously be watching baseball as well. We have preseason for NFL going on as well, so a sports filled weekend as we get ever so closer to the NFL season. But I know I was telling you offline that we needed to take a second here and wish our good buddy Consig a very happy birthday. I'll have to tell him to listen to this portion of the show, but we've had him on multiple times on our podcast here, Malcolm. He is a great friend of the program, and he's also a great friend. That he's just a phone call and a text message away, and he's always messaging me, whether he's on the road at different ballparks or doing things with his daughters. But it's a privilege and an honor to call him a personal friend of not only ourselves, Malcolm, but also of the Sport Gambling Podcast Network. So just want to take a quick second and wish the Consig a very happy birthday. I think it's his 21st birthday, Malcolm. I'm not sure. I'll have to find out about that, but yeah, just wanted to wish him a happy birthday.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, how old do you think he is? Because he wears those caps, and the caps, a cap can be kind to a man. It's a little bit of man makeup. It's like the beard and mustache that we both have to hide our saggy old faces. So yeah, the Consig uses his man makeup as well. But so yeah, happy birthday, Dave. What a character Dave is. Tells a great story. So yeah, many happy returns to you.
We'll have to, Malcolm. We'll have to, when we're out in Vegas, NFL Week 1, try to get either at least a lunch or a dinner with him while we're out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't think of anything that I'd like to do more. Yeah, EPL continues tomorrow, and Newcastle above Liverpool in the table. As we speak, I imagine that'll.
You just had to put that in there.
Mate, it took me 37 minutes. The over under was 90 seconds. So if you back the over on that, you're well over. We got a little win against Forest last week, and we go to Brighton tomorrow afternoon. So yeah, that was fun. It's just nice to be competitive again after a generation of not being, but I don't want to bore you with my woes. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks, Rita, for joining you.
Yes,
for joining me. I missed everybody. It's nice to be back. Refilled with enthusiasm for this baseball season, getting down the stretch towards the playoffs. Thanks for listening. Good luck with all your bets, everybody. Possibly back tomorrow, certainly on Sunday. Until then, we'll see you down the road. Cheers.